I've been a little time poor over the past few weeks with work and a few other things going on. So I've been, I guess you'd say, neglecting the strange and unusual cinema. And I've been revisiting a few of the classic horror anthology series from the 70s, 80s and 90s, the horror television series. And the other night I rewatched something I haven't seen for a lot of years, an episode of the series Monsters, which, as you know, was a series that was brought to us from the creators of Tales from the Dark Side, Richard Rubinstein and Laurel and Co., not to be confused with Laurel and Hardy. So Pillow Talk is one that I hadn't seen for probably decades, if not longer. It originally screened in, I think it was 1988, and it was during the first season of Monsters. Very formative time as far as my fascination with things like sci-fi, horror, fantasy, exploitation, and strange and unusual cinema was concerned. So Monsters was quite the novelty back in the day. It had come on late. It might be 10:30 at night, it might be 11, might be 3 in the morning. So you really didn't need to keep a keen eye on the TV guide back in the day if you wanted to catch this great little series, among others. So Pillow Talk, as with a lot of things, it kind of struck differently this time. I know when I first saw it, a few of the themes probably skipped over my teenage brain, my teenage psyche, and it played more like a standard sort of a monster movie. But a few new things that I noticed this time around. This one's very much influenced by H.P. Lovecraft. So the plot of this one is that we have this guy, he's called, I think, Miles Magnus, an author, not to be confused with the wrestler Brutus Magnus from the early TNA days. And he's kind of this Stephen King or Dean Koontz or Clive Barker type stand-in. And he's a horror author, and he gets all of these ideas from this very ancient creature that's taken the form of a mattress, of all things, in his seedy little apartment. And this mattress basically has a big gaping maw, a gaping mouth, and big teeth, and tentacles and a tongue. It kind of looks a little bit like the Sealy Posturepedic version of the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi. So very strange and unusual setup. Basically, Miles Magnus, not to be confused with TNA wrestler Brutus Magnus, has to bring sacrifices home in the form of one-night stands to basically feed to this ancient Lovecraftian cosmic horror beast that has taken the form of a mattress for some reason. And it's a pretty cool theme because it's kind of a yin and yang between Miles Magnus, not Brutus Magnus, and the Lovecraftian beast, because he has to bring sacrifices back for it to feed on, but in return it has to give him these genius ideas for his horror novels, which in turn, I guess, makes him all that more appealing to the opposite sex and more able to bring these sacrifices back to this ancient mattress god of the Monsters episode Pillow Talk. Because let's face it, if Miles Magnus worked in 7-Eleven, didn't have any particular talents to speak of, looked about the same, he'd probably have great difficulty in luring nubile young ladies back to his apartment. at least in the pre-Grindr days of 1988. So it is quite a clever plot device that the master, as he calls this mattress demon, is offering this Faustian deal where he'll give him all of these awesome ideas and concepts for his future horror novels. Presumably they're very Lovecraftian horror novels, because the master is sharing anecdotes from back in the ancient eons of time. But the master's sharing all of these skills, all of these gifts, basically in exchange for nubile, young, not quite virgins. So that was what the Lovecraftian elements were, kind of what struck me with this one, seeing it again after a couple of decades or so, and certainly a lot more decades than the first time I saw it on late night Australian network television when it was in syndication. And this one also has Mary Woronov, who some of you might remember as the wife of cult film director Paul Bartel, who directed Eating Raoul and Death Race 2000. And Mary Woronov was also in Death Race 2000, and she was in Warlock, and she's been in a ton of stuff over the years, Night of the Comet. And Mary Woronov, I guess, is a classic example of what people are talking about when they say, or when they describe someone as a handsome woman. So Mary Woronov and a handsome woman can be quite almost masculine, I guess. Not really my type, but to each his own. But that is what people are referring to when they talk about a masculine woman. So Pillow Talk's a pretty cool little self-contained cosmic horror story. A lot of these Monsters episodes were highly successful in that regard. You had one set, maybe two sets or locations, only 2 or 3 cast members. Very simple concept. But as in this case, sometimes these simple concepts were simultaneously these big idea concepts, as was the case with Pillow Talk, with these Lovecraftian cosmic horror themes that are often quite difficult to bring to the screen, but they did quite a good job with this one. Well worth a look if you can find the Monsters episode from season 1, Pillow Talk, on YouTube. I think it might be on Tubi as well. You should be able to find it somewhere. This series is a hell of a lot of fun overall. And as I was saying earlier, I've been a little bit time poor lately. And when that's happening in your life, when you've got a lot on with work or your personal life, then for me personally, these 70s, 80s and 90s horror or sci-fi or fantasy anthology series can often fit the bill if you just want to decompress and watch something that's not too taxing for a half hour. And Pillow Talk was no different in that regard. So well worth a look. As I said, I've been a bit busy lately, so the channel's been a little bit neglected. But it's an interest, it's a hobby. I'll probably start branching out a little bit just to keep things fresh. I'll still be talking about strange and unusual cinema, and in this case, strange and unusual television. But I'll probably talk about topics that, whatever's interesting to me at the time, fruits of insomnia, and so on and so forth. Because I know they tell you to niche down on YouTube and only talk about the one thing, but the way the algorithm seems to work anyway is it just feeds you random content and the sort of content you've been watching anyway, regardless of your subscriptions and who you follow and things like that. At least it seems like that now more than ever, and I think that's the way that YouTube's starting to work. So I don't think it hurts to make a few different kinds of videos if you do have your own channel, and videos that have little to do with the, I guess, the primary motivation of your channel. Probably a good way to keep things fresh and interesting, and to be there for the long haul without burning out on the whole idea. It does get a little bit frustrating just talking about strange and unusual cinema, and in this case strange and unusual television, because people like you and I are few and far between. So these sorts of videos are lucky to get 5 or 10, 15 or 20 views, and they're not going to set the world on fire in terms of YouTube, but I'll keep doing them anyway because I enjoy them, and it's an interest, and it is a reason to get up in the morning to watch something the night before, have a good think about it, and maybe hopefully come up with a few salient points that haven't been made about either the movie or the show in question or the topic in question. So if you did enjoy this and you are still here at this point and you want to like, share and subscribe, by all means. If you have any thoughts on monsters or on the Pillow Talk episode in particular, by all means let me know in the comments. I might even post a link to this episode if I can find it on YouTube in the comments and pin that one. But that's about all I've got on Pillow Talk. Very cool little cosmic horror episode of late night horror television, and highly recommended from me. Take it easy.